I want to just take a moment to talk about how you do not choose the dark night of the soul. As an ego, choosing this path is not something it would do. The reason is because that means it would die. If it knew that it would die choosing anything, it would not choose that thing. It wants to survive, right? And so anybody who finds themselves in this deep depression, questioning, who am I? What am I doing here? What's the purpose of all of this? Because it's not a normal depression. The dark night of the soul is not what they call a mere chemical imbalance. It's spiritual. What do I mean by that? Something beyond your physiology, something beyond your psychology is deciding it's time to wake up, right? Now, if you've read Tashira Takiren's Light Body Activation, it talks about these 12 stages, the first stage of which is this questioning of who am I? What's my purpose? What is the point of doing any of this? Why do we do any of this, right? Why do I go to work every day and make this money and buy new stuff? Why am I doing any of this? You know, and it starts with this deep questioning. This is not just a psychological existential crisis, right? This is a spiritual process of awakening. Now, the only thing that is really awful about this, especially the first time that it happens, is that most people have no clue what's happening or why it's happening. This is what happened with me. All of a sudden, all my younger, early adulthood trauma, you know, over this spanning 15 years or so, resurfaced, and I had to relive all of that pain as though it had happened the day before. All of it as though it had all happened the day before. It was excruciating, and I did not know the bigger purpose or reason for this. It was only on the other side, once those impurities and those beliefs and that attachment to the stories that had been developed around why those things had happened. Once those things had been burnt away, only then could I see the bigger purpose, because that was when the beautiful part of the awakening came, right? Not the dying part of the awakening, not the death of Simone, but the rebirth of a divine consciousness in a physical vessel. Now, when I started to go through the second dark night of the soul, the second big one, I did not know, firstly, that it was another dark night of the soul coming on, because I didn't know that I could have more than one. Not after how awful the first one was. I've heard people talk about having multiple dark nights of the soul, but I thought, man, the stuff that came up at that time, there is nothing in my psyche that could potentially come close to the stuff that I was purging, you know, during the first dark night. I knew there was more stuff, of course, but nothing that could come close to that. Now, the second dark night of the soul that I'm still making my way out of took me into inner child stuff, you know, the understanding of who I became as an adult, why I have certain psychological I cannot get the word, but let's just call it discomforts, you know, beliefs and things that make me feel not good, right? Why do I have these patterns that are repeating? I thought I had burnt all of this stuff off during my first awakening. Inner child stuff starts resurfacing 2 years ago, 2.5 almost years ago, and bam, you're having to go through this process of the death of Simone once more. No ego would choose this process. Now, the reason I feel so passionately about talking about this is because maybe about a month or two ago, my mom approached me saying, you know, she wants to understand me. She doesn't know why her children decide to choose such difficult paths in life. So I was like, Mom, I understand that it must be really hard for you to see your children have to go through things that other people's children, whom you know, are not going through, and that you've never been exposed to. I understand, okay, not experientially. I don't understand experientially, but psychologically or mentally, rather, I understand how, as a mom, watching your child go through such suffering, and you do not understand why they have to go through why are they putting themselves in this position to choose these hard lives. You are not choosing to go through this process of awakening. Your soul has decided that this is a part of your journey for whatever reason, right? Now, some people identify as light workers, and the reason I'm bringing this concept up is because the concept of light workers has been kind of broken down into light workers who perform different tasks or who are here to do different things, right? I think there are like 12 of them or something. These roles are basically there to help you understand what you're here to do. So in other words, you know, this constant searching of what is my purpose, what have you been doing, right? Do more of that. What does it feel good for you to do? Do more of that. And sometimes that could mean hopping onto Instagram and making a video where you share with other people about how crazy this process is. Sometimes it could mean going into the mountains and raising the consciousness of the planet through raising your own frequency, privately, quietly, where nobody else can see this happening. Sometimes it could mean working with the grid of the planet. You know, I've had moments where I have transmuted energy through my own body, grounding it into the planet. I did not know what I was doing or why I was doing it. I just knew that that's what I needed to do. That's what I was doing. I was moving energy through my body. My palms were facing the planet. This energy was moving through my body. I was transmuting something and grounding it into the grid. Sometimes you just spontaneously feel like I need to do this thing, but you don't understand why until a year and a half later you come across an article or somebody talking about this on YouTube where they explain to you, oh, there are other people who do this thing. This is an actual thing. It's about to get loud in here. Apologies in advance because I'm changing onto a different road thing. What do you call it? Material. Apologies for the noise. But you don't choose this path. There was an article I came across a year and a half later that really laid out for me every step that I had gone through on my awakening journey, starting from the existential crisis of who am I? What am I doing here? What's the purpose of all of this? Why the heck do I get up every morning to go make money to buy more stuff? I don't understand. Why do I feel this urge to get up every day to make money to buy shit that I don't need? Excuse my language. Stuff that I actually don't care about. Right? And now I went through that process a second time and a third. This time asking the question again, who am I? You know, this is essentially what led to, or one of the things, I guess, one of the major things that led to my relationship ending at the end of last year was, who am I? I don't know who I am. How am I in this relationship and in this connection that I didn't know at the time was a part of the triggering of the next stage of my awakening, right? The inner child healing, whereas the first one brought up all my young adulthood traumas that need to be relived and healed. And so I just wanted to, there's a couple of things I touched on here, but I just wanted to come on and share this impassioned feeling with you that this is not an ego decision. This is a soul or a higher self decision, right? This goes beyond your tiny little human self wanting glory for being any kind of anything. You know, no ego self wants to die. So I just want to extend some love here, because there are so many people going through the dark nights of the soul, and they don't know what's going on, and they haven't yet come in contact with the information that's going to help them move through this process peacefully. Or not even peacefully, but in a way that they can at least release the resistance to the death of the old self, because they understand through somebody else's experiences that there's a bigger reason for allowing yourself to, you're allowing your world to completely collapse, allowing everything that you thought was true to completely collapse. I'm going to leave it there, and wish you guys a beautiful Monday. I've been a bit quiet over the past few days because I've felt a lot more grounded in my energy, and every time I've come on to make a video, it hasn't felt flowy. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna just let it go and see when the next thing wants to move through me, and that apparently is right now. So sending you guys lots of love on your journey of expansion, healing, dying, rebirth, and yeah, see you guys soon.